Hello, this is Duncan Wallace, and today we're going to talk about setting up a custom folder for your Smartsheet project manager projects. And the very first thing I want to talk about is you should have access to the Smartsheet Control Center how-to guide. So a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about is available here. So you should have this for reference. If for some reason you don't, you can contact me, or you can contact Diana in the Vancouver office. Diana is the control center administrator at this point in time. So let's get into it. So first thing you want to do is you want to go to Smartsheets, and under Home you'll find the workspaces. There's three separate workspaces for Smartsheet Control Center, all identified by Control Center. So we got Control Center Admin, which is the folder we're going to work in today. Control Center Projects, this is where the actual projects reside after they've been created. So that'll get to be a rather large list. And then we've got the reporting, and we'll talk about that in another video. So going into Control Center Admin, the project folder is called Project, and this houses all the schedules, reports, and sheets that will be utilized. The other folders you see here are kind of placeholders. I'm not going to get into too much detail about it, but what you want to end up doing is you want to create your own folder with your own customized sheet, and Diana will end up actually copying those sheets into Project when you need to create some new projects. And so there's a little bit of shuffle involved here, but don't worry about that so much. The main thing is to go ahead and create your own folder. So you can have Diane create a folder for you. I've just quickly created one here called Copy of Project. Nice and simple. So once you can go in here and rename this. Once you've got your own folder, feel free to come in here, and now you can start modifying. So the biggest sheet that we're going to be dealing with, kind of the sheet that drives them all, is the schedule. So this schedule is where you're going to set up all the information about the project, and most importantly, what we want to do is we want to streamline this. So if you're working on this for a very specific program and you have repeatable actions, repeatable tasks, and if you happen to utilize maybe the same people for those tasks, if you have similar durations of time, then it will really save you a lot of time to go ahead and populate this template as much as you can from the get-go, because this will be the basis for all your projects. And then when you actually create 10 projects, you'll have a lot of the work done for you, and then you only need to come in here and do some modification. So all this top information is kind of automatically filled out when you set up the project, so you don't really need to worry about modifying your template for that. What we're really going to focus on is all of the typical tasks that are in the project schedule. So you can see we've got a lot of similar looking phasing and tasks that you'd probably be familiar with: preliminary phase, a planning phase, construction documents, permit, bid, and construction administration. So working from left to right, you've got the name of the task, and you can change these names, but be very cautious not to change the names of the cells that are next to a triangle. These are cells that are linked by this name. So if you were to change this, you would break the link for all your reporting. So it's okay to delete some of these and not use them, but just realize you've got to be cautious about coming in here and just changing names, because if you changed it from ASR to change order, just because you like to use the term change order, you're going to break that link and it's not going to show up in your reporting. So just be really cautious of that. So assign to, it's fairly simple. If you're meeting with a client and you want to assign it to somebody, you just simply pick that person's name. The very first time you do this, you may have to do a little digging to find that person. You can do that by going to add new and locate that person and get them onto your list. Allocation is identifying during the period of time that this person is working on the task, how much are they going to allocate to it. So if it's a 1 week task, or in this case, meeting with the client, if it's a 1 day task and it's a 4-hour meeting, and then I'm going to be 50% allocated. And that helps in the future when we use our project resource view. It's not required, but it could be helpful, or it could be something that you're interested in. Start and finish date, those are pretty straightforward, I believe. Your duration, again, that's pretty straightforward, probably doesn't need a lot of explanation. Imagine most of you are familiar working with predecessors. You can see here I've got a predecessor set up that the very first item of business is this preliminary task. It takes 7 days, and then I've got the proposal is going to occur after this preliminary task, so they're linked together. So if you set this all up, and I'll show you an example real quick of one that is set up, so you can kind of see how that works. Here's my MRP program, and so I've got a lot of this all preset. So I've got the client's name in here, with client responsibilities, allocation, start date, finish date, typical durations. So this makes life a lot easier for me. I can run, I can set up 10 new projects, and they will all start out with this information, and then based upon when I actually start the project, for me, most of the projects really start out with this preliminary task here. So if I was just simply change out that task date and put that back a month, then it pushes everything out accordingly. Same thing with the permit. So that's a little bit of an idea, a little bit of information on how you go ahead and set up your schedule. Let's go back to copy the project where we're at. So that's the schedule portion. There are a few other sheets in here. Most of these sheets, I don't really see there being too much advantage to setting up a specific template. The RAID log is something that collects information on risks, actions, issues, and decisions. So it's kind of a nice catch-all for just items that pop up during the project. You receive a phone call from the client and you want to record some information to make sure that it doesn't get lost, or kind of treat it like a phone log. This is a great thing to do. So this is really information that just happens throughout the project. Probably not too many chances of that being a real template type issue. The charter is really not a sheet that needs to be messed around with. It's really just set up to transfer information from the schedule to the reports. We have the permit record. I could see this being something you may want to set up with some basic information. This is identified or set up to record all the information on your permits. So you can record the permit number, when it was submitted, when you received comments, if there's any consultants that are supposed to be working on the project. So it's just a real nice log for tracking all the details, even the amounts and payments and so forth for each one of your permits. So so that's a nice nice report, and I could definitely see it may be beneficial to go ahead and set this up as part of your template. And that's about it, except for your dashboard. Dashboard is pretty much just a compilation of all the information on the project. It pulls in the RAID log, pulls in the permit report, and then it pulls in your schedule. So it is possible to customize this, but that would require a little bit more work. I would suggest that you contact me or Diana if you need to create a custom dashboard. Also will have a video at a future date that will talk about dashboards that are set up specifically for individuals, which are different than dashboards that are set up for projects. So we're at about 10 minutes. I think it's probably long enough for the first video. Again, the important thing is contact Diana. She'll set you up with a folder. Once you got that folder set up, go in and start making modifications to your schedule. You can add tasks. You can reorganize tasks as far as how they're set up. You've got a lot of freedom there, but be aware that, again, and I probably do need to reemphasize this a few times, is it's really important that you realize that these tasks associated with these triangles, this is all of your reporting. These are your kind of your key dates that we've identified. So we're figuring that your clients and yourself are going to want to see most of this information. So I'd be very cautious about deleting any of these. Okay, appreciate it. Thanks, and stay tuned for our next series.